The Kronstadt Rebellion of 1921 was one of the most significant uprisings against Vladimir Lenin's Bolshevik government during the early years of Soviet rule. Taking place at the Kronstadt naval base, located on an island near Petrograd, modern-day St. Petersburg, the revolt was led by sailors, soldiers and workers who had once been loyal supporters of the Bolshevik Revolution. Their rebellion was a response to the growing authoritarianism of Lenin's regime and the harsh economic conditions under war communism. Background: growing discontent under Bolshevik rule. After the Bolsheviks won the Russian Civil War, 1917 to 1922, their policies led to widespread economic devastation and political repression. The introduction of war communism, which included forced grain requisitioning, nationalization of industries, and suppression of political dissent, caused severe hardship, especially among peasants and workers. By 1921, frustration with Bolshevik rule had reached a boiling point. Workers in Petrograd went on strike due to food shortages and harsh labor conditions, while peasants revolted against the forced grain seizures. It was in this climate of unrest that the Kronstadt sailors, who had been instrumental in the 1917 Bolshevik Revolution, turned against Lenin's government. The Kronstadt Revolt: demands for change. On March 1, 1921, the Kronstadt garrison issued the Petropavlovsk Resolution, which called for free elections to Soviet councils, instead of Bolshevik-dominated rule, freedom of speech and press for workers and socialists, an end to war communism and forced grain requisitioning, the release of political prisoners including socialist opponents of the Bolsheviks. The Kronstadt rebels declared themselves against the communist dictatorship, demanding a more democratic form of socialism. They formed a provisional revolutionary committee to organize their resistance. Lenin's response: the Red Army crushes the uprising. Lenin and Leon Trotsky, the leader of the Red Army, saw the rebellion as a dangerous threat to Bolshevik authority. Trotsky famously warned the rebels, "You will be shot down like partridges." On March 7, 1921, the Bolsheviks launched a massive military assault against Kronstadt. Despite the frozen Gulf of Finland providing some defense, 60,000 Red Army soldiers attacked the fortress, leading to fierce fighting. After 10 days of brutal combat, the rebellion was crushed by March 17, 1921. Thousands of rebels were executed or sent to labor camps. The aftermath and significance. The Kronstadt Rebellion was a turning point in Soviet history. It demonstrated the growing dissatisfaction with Bolshevik rule, even among those who had once supported the revolution. Lenin recognized the dangers of widespread unrest and shortly after the uprising introduced the new economic policy, NEP, which relaxed some of the harshest aspects of war communism. Despite its failure, the Kronstadt Rebellion remains a symbol of resistance against authoritarianism within the Soviet system. It exposed the contradictions in Lenin's promises of worker-led democracy and showed that many revolutionaries wanted a more democratic and less repressive socialism. Conclusion: the Kronstadt sailors had once been hailed as the pride and glory of the Russian Revolution, but their demands for greater freedom led to their brutal suppression. Their rebellion remains a tragic chapter in Soviet history, reflecting the struggle between revolutionary ideals and the reality of Bolshevik rule.